Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rockland School Committee meeting of Monday, August 27th, 2018. It's our first meeting back from the summer. A lovely summer, I might add, hopefully by everybody. Mr. Phelps is not with us tonight. He's not feeling well. We'll send him well wishes and hope he's feeling better and back with us very soon. First on tonight's agenda, we have a couple of sets of minutes to approve. First, we're going to look for a motion to approve the School Committee meeting minutes of July 2nd, 2018.
Okay, I'd like to make a change to that, amend them. On page 2, third to the bottom, it says on a motion by Mr. Moroney, we should it says Dr. Alan Cron's contract for 5 years at a 3% increase yearly. Put a period there and delete everything after that. Second.
Got it. I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That is a vote. Thank you. Okay, next we need to approve the meeting minutes of the executive session meeting of July 2nd, 2018.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That is a vote. Thank you very much. Seeing nothing under communications, we'll look to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cron.
Good evening. What a great first day, first of all. I'll come back to that later. I would like to introduce Ms. Jane Hackett, our business administrator, who's sitting next to me. And I think she's going to say a few words, but I'm also going to ask her to include in that some discussion of our mosquito update. Ms. Hackett.
Thank you, Dr. Cron. Thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to many more meetings. As a Bulldog, I come here from Weymouth with some municipal experience, and I am very grateful to be here in the Rockland Public Schools. I felt tremendously welcomed from the first day that I came in, and I look forward to working with you and with Town Hall and having our finances be transparent and simple and easy to understand and reflective of the educational plan and strategic plan that the district has in place. One of my first things that I have tackled all by myself and taking ownership of has been the West Nile virus. The town of Rockland had a single mosquito test positive out of a large batch for West Nile virus at the end of last week. I believe on Friday and Saturday we were notified. We contacted the Plymouth County Mosquito Control today, followed their procedures that are set up in order to post on each school's website. So I'd encourage parents to look at their individual schools' websites, how we will be going about the spraying process and the chemicals that we will be using. And spraying is scheduled to be this Thursday, the 30th, in the evening after dusk.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So we have a mosquito expert on the panel.
We do.
I know.
We
Thank
do.
goodness.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hackett. Welcome. It's great to have you. I know everyone in the office has been excited to work with you, and you picked right up running right away. And what a couple of us, or several of us in the room, were able to observe is that you're quite a bowler as well. We had a leadership meeting, and Jane made a lot of us look bad, including myself. But we're looking forward to having you in Rockland Schools, and welcome to our meeting tonight. And thank you for filling us in on that about the mosquito-borne illness. It's kind of scary stuff, and I hope we can all kind of be careful and watch out for it and spray our kids and make sure we remove all standing water from our yards, and hopefully cold weather will come soon and we don't have to worry about that.
And the athletic department does have repellent on hand for any students that need any.
Outstanding.
Over the next several days.
Yeah. Watch your
Excellent.
animals, too.
Excellent. I'd like to just be in the start of the year, a couple things for parents to be aware of. I just want to walk you through. We use what's called X2, we refer to as X2 Aspen. It is our student data management system. So everything that happens with students is recorded. This data management system is also connected to the Department of Education on the state level. And so all of our data is run through this Aspen X2 system. Parents are aware of it because they can log in to get a range of information about their children. Now this is grade 8 through 12, so checking grades, homework, communicating with teachers will happen grades 8 through 12, and they log into their own accounts and can communicate through X2. This Sarah Hologatis is our data manager. And if anyone has any questions about X2, the schedule, how to access it, if you need help gaining access to your students' information, please contact Sarah. She's very, very helpful, and she's at 781-871-0541, extension 1111. Now, I just wanted you to get a look at, this is what the students see when they log into their accounts, 8 through 12. So students we see them on their cell phones in the cafeteria. They're checking their grades, they're looking for missed homework. This is what they see when they log in. Parents, this is what you would see when you log in. You would see a drop down of your children. So if you have multiple children in the district, this is what you'd be able to see. Now currently, grades in the elementary school, we're just using X2 Aspen for report cards. But it is something that we're using on a regular basis, and I know that for some parents this might be new. So again, don't be afraid, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call Sarah. She's very helpful. Another thing that I wanted to just remind folks of is busing and how it works. At the start of the year, busing can raise a lot of questions for families. So I just want to give you a really quick overview of our busing system here in the district. We contract with First Student for our buses. We are in year 2 of a 3-year contract with them. And I will, just to point out, over the past 2 bidding cycles, First Student was the only company to bid. Last year's contract was for $612,667, and that's for 9 buses. We currently have 3 runs, and that means we run an elementary run, a kindergarten run, and a middle school, high school run. And we also run a late bus for high school and middle school students. State law mandates that we bus anyone who lives more than 2 miles away. But Rockland policy, we shrink that a little bit. For students in K through 4 who live more than 1.5 miles away, they can get busing, and students in 5 through 8 can get busing if they live more than 2 miles away. Neither state law or Rockland policy any entitlement for busing to high school students. Any of you have friends in neighboring towns, you may have found that they offer no high school busing. So here's where things get a little bit tricky. If a bus isn't full, we have empty seats. But I will tell you that there are never enough empty seats to meet the demand. So there's always more demand than we have. So you'd think, well, if you have more demand, why don't you just add a bus? Well, here are the economics of it. Each bus is $68,000, and if we fill a bus with paying students at $275, we generate an income of $15,125. So we lose $52,000, almost $53,000 on each bus. We don't lose it, but it's an investment on the part of the district. So we are subsidizing busing to meet the needs of state law. But we do this for student safety. We don't want to see students crossing busy streets, and especially our youngest students. So we do have just so folks know, this is how we determine how many spaces are available. We send out letters this past June for eligible parents so that we give them ample opportunity. Outside of the distant limit, they inform the district if they would like to pay for a spot. So we're also in June gathering information, and we prioritize our youngest students. The list of bus riders is sent to the bus company, and the routes are developed at the beginning of the summer. And in late summer, parents are notified to come and pick up their bus passes. Each school year begins with a waiting list of anywhere from 30 to 50 students. During the first 2 weeks, we will do actual physical counts to see who is using the bus, and we make phone calls to fill as many of those seats as possible. I say we, but it's really one person, Patty Penny, who does an extraordinary job, and believe me, those folks on the wait list are not always as patient as they probably are in the rest of their life. So if we did decide to reduce operating our range of services in busing, we could, because we are really supplying a service beyond state law. And we do spend $612,000 a year on busing. But again, we think it's a priority. We are We are sensitive to the realities of Rockland streets and traffic, and we have expanded busing over the years. If we did increase this budget line item, and again, when people say, why don't you just add a bus? We think in terms of that bus is a teacher, that bus is a program, and we're trying to prioritize. And so if we did add buses, it would take away from other things. And our mission here is to achieve a balance between state law, Rockland policy, fiscal prudence, and the needs of our students and parents. But I'm hopeful that this just gives the community a little more information about how busing works, the cost of it, and why we don't simply just add a bus, which would seem logical, but it's just fiscally impossible. And I'd like to end my report, we met with principals at the end of the day to just get a sense of how the days went. Very, very positive. The kids seemed very happy to be back. The teachers seemed very happy to be back. What I heard from the elementary principals was that the PBIS, teaching students the expectations of how to treat one another and how to behave, seems to really be getting traction. And students this year just seem, each year appears to be smoother as expectations become more and more clear. So they're seeing carryover in the social emotional curriculum, which was really great to hear. Students at Memorial Park were greeted by teachers and parents with bubbles, and we just had a great start. The middle school commented on how comfortable the fifth graders appeared to be, and that by lunchtime they seemed to have really settled in. The elementary schools, the way we measure first day success is often in terms of how many criers we have. I was told we had no crying.
Is that children or parents?
I know, children.
And parents.
Children or
And
parents.
grandparents.
You have the children. You have the parents crying when their kids are going away when they're little, but then you have the parents jumping up and down with joy when their kids are older. So, but there was evidently one tear only, and that was a first grader in one of the elementaries. But other than that, we've had a great opening. Buses ran smoothly. Again, thank you, Patty Penny, for all of your work. And daycare ran smoothly. So it was a very, very good, positive first day. And I will end my report on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Memorial Park was quiet down there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was-
Mike,
The only
we were
thing I
down
saw
there,
was
yeah?
some.
He brought, you should see the
some girl
bag lunch
truck
he
on the way
brought,
out.
Mike brought. Somebody told me he was, I don't know, I won't tell you.
Any questions, comments on Dr. Cron's report?
No, it was very good. It was
How are we
good.
on the busing wait list now? Is that
I couldn't give you a number. I'd be guessing, but I could find out for you.
very good?
Find out for you.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Outstanding. Thank you, Alan.
Oh,
Wait,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Is there a family cap? Like if you have 2 students or 3 students on the buses, is there a cap? Do you know that?
you know, that's a great question. I'm pretty sure that it's by student and by seat. But 475 cap
Well,
per
Per
family.
family.
Thank you,
I
Donna.
get asked that question, and we're walkers, so I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Donna.
Outstanding. Anything
Sorry,
else from
that's
anybody
all I
else?
had.
Questions, comments? Okay,
I'm good.
great. Next up, we have the monthly reports for June. We have 4 that we will need to approve. We have reports from the administrators, guidance, nurse, and pupil personnel services.
Full motion.
4 seconds.
All those in favor? That's a vote. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, item B, we have financial reports. We'll be entertaining 5 motions for the school department, high school student activities, the middle school student activities, the cafeteria, and the daycare.
5 motions.
5 seconds.
All those in favor? That's a vote. Thank you very much. Next up, we have monthly reports for June. We will be entertaining 18 motions for the reports for art, athletic, computer technology, daycare, Dean's, English 5 to 8, English 9 to 12, family consumer science and tech, math 5 to 8, math 9 to 12, music, physical education, TV, radio, science, social studies, special education, middle school, and foreign language.
18 motions.
18 seconds.
All those in favor?
All right. The only comment I'd like to make is these are all for the end of the year. There were some good reports out there. You know,
Absolutely.
Some really good detailed stuff.
The daycare is
Yeah, yeah.
continuing.
Continuing to thrive, yeah, Mr. Garoppolo. Thank you for putting that out. The daycare, from the depths of where we were just a few years back, really just continues to thrive and continues to be not only healthy, but a moneymaker. So good to hear, and they're doing a great job over there. They really, really are. Next up, under old business, we have some completed fundraisers. We have 2. There was one that was canceled. The two that we have was a Dining for a Cause for the Aston PAC that raised $805, which is outstanding. And the middle school PAC had a silent auction that raised $1,106, which is also outstanding.
Very good. Awesome. Motion for that?
We have a motion to
for that.
approve.
A motion to approve.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? And that is a vote. Thank you. Under new business, item A, Dr. Cron. We have the appointment of Dr. Cron to the 2018-2019 Board of Directors for North River Collaborative. Having served on that particular board, I know that it's a really worthwhile endeavor, and it's really a good cause and a good organization, and I know you'll do good things over there, Dr. Cron.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
All those in favor? That is a vote. Congratulations, Dr. Cron. Next up, we have the
Waiting for your
appointment
reports.
of Dr. Maniglia to the 2018-2019 North River Collaborative Advisory Committee.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
All those in favor? That too is a vote. Thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Maniglia. Next up, we have, for item C, Superintendent's Contract Addendum. And that is enclosed within the package. Any comments or questions from the committee about it?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? That's a vote. Thank you. Next up, we have homeschooling for the year, and we have quite a robust packet here. Before we entertain a motion or vote, are there any comments or questions? First of all, Dr. Cron, from you, or from the committee for Dr. Cron?
We get feedback from any, at the end of the year, on any of this?
No, we don't. I mean, unless
we don't have
unless
to.
it's offered, but no,
Yeah.
we don't solicit. But I will say this particular group of applications is impressive.
Yes, it
And
is.
I
And-
agree.
And I do know Dr. Maniglia is with us tonight. If you do have any specific questions about any of these applications, she's.
The one question I have, do we ever, I'll put it this way, do we ever have anybody that participates in homeschooling and then shows up at Rockland Public School?
Coming back?
Yeah.
We have several this year.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
I'm going to
We
ask
have
Dr.
two this
Maniglia
year.
to come to the podium.
Okay.
Thank
There's a
you.
list at the end.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I'll give you just an overview. This year, we have 7 families that have completed the notice of intent to homeschool their children, and that equates to 24 students. 9 of those students are elementary students in grades 1 through 4. 11 are middle school students in grades 5 through 8, and we have 4 high school students. 2 of the students that we that participated in homeschooling last year have moved to another district, because last year our number was 31. 2 of our students have come back to our district this year that were homeschooled last year. 2 of our students have been accepted at the South Shore Vocational School, and 1 of our students is accepted to college. So that's, why
What-
we've had a decrease in numbers.
What grade did the students coming back into Rockland Public Schools?
Let's see, I can tell
So
you.
we have
First and
first and
First
third,
and third.
first and
Yeah,
Relate to a Jefferson.
both
Okay.
to Jefferson.
Right, okay.
right.
Do we, is there any process to see where they stand on their educational level?
Well, they'll, be participating in curriculum this year. They'll be taking MCAS.
Okay.
Grades. All of the portfolios that I received from parents this year had grades. I would say the majority of our students, some took virtual schools online, some, the parents developed pretty rigorous curriculums for them. All of our students just about made honor roll. They sent me some progress monitoring, assessments that they had, either some standardized tests or some progress monitoring, and the students all did really well.
Okay, so you're satisfied with what they said they were going to do from
Yes.
last year, and,
I
that
think
they
this year, the
completed this year?
portfolios were the best
Yeah,
that
they
I've
were
seen
good.
over the last 4 years.
And I'll say that for the last 16 years.
Yeah, because that's been a concern, sort of a perennial concern every year is when we do this, is that,
Right.
that they're filled out and complete.
Right.
And they certainly were this time around. They were not only complete, but they were really,
Yeah, and I would say the majority of parents that, not that they have to be, because there's no requirements with the child's law, but I would say just about all of them have college degrees and are working with. One thing I noticed is that, like I say, they have rigorous curriculums that they've sent in. They've done a lot more social networking where they've got together with other students that are being homeschooled. They have them involved in sports and dance and you know, different kinds of activities so that they are, you know, getting socially involved with peers their age.
Do we have a deadline for them to file their homeschooling report? Request?
Usually, unless they're a new family
Right, except for
moving
that, yeah.
in, we try to find out when I will be sharing the information with school committee.
Okay.
And if I do get a new student or a new family that
That's-
would like to homeschooling, then I think at one of the other school committees, I would share it with you.
Right, that's happened last
But usually,
year.
we
We
tell
had-
them it has to be in by August, the
Okay.
beginning of August. Even the end of July, I go through all the portfolios, you know, go through the notice of intent notification to make sure that it's all filled out, and that there is not information that is missing on them.
Right, because in past years, we have had families that have not indicated that they were going to do homeschooling until well into the school year. And that brings up the issue of they were absent from school, they're, you know, truant at that point, because they haven't filed the notice of intent. I know new parents, new families coming into the district have, you know, they'll be making that when they arrive. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that we don't want them being truant from our school if they haven't filed a notice of intent.
Right.
And get the information to you for your review. Okay? That's mine.
I have. And I know you probably don't have the packet in front of you, and you won't know who I'm talking about because I'm not going to mention names. But I'm looking at a transcript of a student who's looks like they're supposed to be a senior. And I'm looking at stuff that says they've attempted X amount of credits but only earned Y, and that they haven't hit 24 credits, and they didn't meet certain requirements in their credits here. How does that, I mean, are they saying that's what we're doing this year? I just want to make sure I'm reading this right.
Right,
so I
and when they
know-
bring it in, they, you know, put in some of that curriculum, maybe they haven't completed. There is a test, too, that high school students can take.
Okay.
I think it's the Hillsta,
Okay.
to, you know, show what information
Right.
that they have mastered.
Okay.
If they haven't completed, you know, all of the courses.
Now, a homeschool is required to take the MCAS, or is this person just taking it just
No,
to take
they're
it?
not required to
Okay.
take it.
So this person's doing it right because they took them and they've
Right.
passed them all. So I'm just curious because last year, some of them were not, and this year, everyone seemed to have put together a really good detailed packet. I just want to make sure I have everything understood. Thank you.
One further question. High school students, do we get to see their, like, if they take SATs, ACTs, or anything like that?
I haven't seen all of them, I just, the parents sent me in an acceptance from the college.
Okay, so
telling
we don't
me
see the
where
scores.
He was accepted,
that-
and, you know,
Then they scrutinize it much, yeah,
Right.
yeah, fine. Okay, thank you very much.
okay.
thank you, Dr. Maniglia.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? That is a vote. Thank you very much.
Mike, I didn't.
Next up, we have a couple of travel requests. First up, we have a request for approval of an out-of-state field trip going to New York.
The big city.
Hello, Ms. Walsh.
California. Have some special
Welcome.
guests. I hope that's okay.
Of course it's okay.
Nah, they're not on the list.
So tonight I brought 3 of the 12 students who went to Japan with us this summer. So we hope to just give you a quick recap of some of their favorite moments. You can see some group pictures up there of all the beautiful places we went. We have Katie McGuirk, Ty Johnson, and Maddie Gear. Maddie is also our first candidate for the Global Ambassador distinction, which will be a future element of students' transcripts for college, as well as something they'll be awarded at senior night of awards night. She's been working really hard since last year. She chose her topic. She presented to her classmates who were traveling before we left. Mr. Phelps was also there, which was great. He got to ask some questions and see Maddie present. She gathered her information while we're traveling, and at some point this year when she's ready, she'll present to a group of faculty, students, and any of you are welcome to come, of course. And then she'll be eligible for this distinction, which we're really proud of all of her hard work so far. So I thought I would just let them share their favorite experiences of our trip, and if you have any questions, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer them. Whoever wants to go first.
So one of the nights we stayed in a traditional hotel, and this probably was one of the experiences that stood out to me the most. So when we first walked into our rooms, there's just like a big room unlike any other hotel room that we'd been in before, and there was a tea set in the middle. That was about it. So when it comes time to go to bed, we eventually get back to our rooms, and there are these mats that were like laid out on the floor. So we didn't sleep in beds that night. And personally, I really loved it. I thought it was the coolest experience ever. Another thing about the traditional hotel that I really thought was interesting was when we weren't in our rooms, we wore what are called yugatas, which are pretty much like casual kimonos. So like we wore those around. There's actually a picture of us on the bottom left. That's after we ate dinner on the floor wearing our yugatas. So that was my favorite part of the trip and something that really stood out to me.
So my favorite part of the trip was when we went to the Great Buddha of Kamakura. And it was this large, I think 80 or 90-foot Buddhist statue. And it was really cool because my grandfather went there during the Korean War, and I got to take a photo in the same spot that he did. And it was amazing because we got to go inside of the Buddha and see like the belly, and it's good luck if you like touch the belly of the Buddha, which is pretty cool. And yeah, that was my favorite
How's that
part.
worked out for you?
He made it to the first day of school. And he's here, so that's a jackpot.
So one of my favorite parts of the whole trip was when we went to the bamboo forest. It was kind of like different from what we did the rest of the days. We went to this forest, and it was like kind of full with people, but it was also really quiet too. And after the bamboo forest, we went on this hike where we hiked to the top of a mountain, and we saw like wild monkeys everywhere, which I thought was really cool because you don't really see that everywhere. I thought it was kind of interesting.
That's where you work.
We have wild squirrels.
And I just want to say that this was the smallest group my fellow chaperones and I have ever taken this year. It was science teacher Sam Hoyo and myself with the group of 12. It was 100 degrees and humid every day. These kids never complained. They were so open to learning about the culture, seeing everything, trekking through this pretty much disgusting weather and just being up for anything. And we couldn't have asked for a better group of enthusiastic, open-minded kids. It was wonderful.
Good,
Very
good,
cool.
good.
I have a quick question.
Right.
Were the elementary schools clued into you guys going to Japan? I only ask because my daughter's grade did a whole Google expedition, like 2-week-long thing on Japan.
Yeah.
And she missed part of it because we were in Disney, so she took it upon herself to go and do a whole report on Japan to give to her class. But it just was kind of funny that you guys went to
Yeah.
Japan, and Memorial Park was doing that whole segment in 2nd grade, so I didn't.
I think it would be a great thing for a travel club to start doing. If any of the elementary schools or the middle school is interested, we'd love to have some of the high school students visit, talk with them either before or after, do some of those activities with them.
That'd be great.
As travel club grows, I think that would be wonderful.
Nice field trip.
Yeah,
down
that's a
to the
great
elementary.
idea.
Right.
Yeah,
I
See what I did there?
yeah. Good job.
We'll talk after the
Yeah.
meeting.
I like it.
Now, how'd you do with the language?
We only learned a couple phrases.
Where's
Where's
the bathroom? Yeah,
Good
no.
morning, and have a nice day.
Yeah, okay.
Which is really all you need if
Right,
you're trying
that's
to
right.
get
Everything in
through.
Tokyo was in English, so
Right,
it was easy
yeah.
translations.
And people were very patient with us, which was wonderful.
And so, Maddie, what's your subject going to be?
My topic for my project is Japanese food. I chose this topic because it was something that interested me. And so I pretty much picked this because I wanted to know, like, how Americans conceive Japanese food and how it's different from what Japanese food actually is.
So that was going to be my question. Everything always comes back to food with me. So I wanted to know about that. So, you know, we as Americans, I think I like sushi and I think I like Japanese food. But tell me what you learned about, like, differently than what you might know about, have known about the food that you had preconceived. What was different about it?
They ate like a whole lot of rice. Like, you think you know how much rice they consume until you go there and you consume that amount of rice. They eat a lot of rice
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
all the time. Breakfast was an interesting meal because they had buffets, and so it was kind of like a hit or miss because either you knew what it was and it was great, or you didn't know what it was and it was not so great.
Still moving around.
And so that was something that really opened my eyes because as Americans, like, we have like breakfast foods where they don't typically have breakfast foods like that.
Aside from what they eat, how about how do they eat? You know, we try to like to say that we sit down for dinner together here. Do they kind of eat together as families, or do they eat together sort of on the go, or what's the sort of like the average meal like there?
From what I saw, they had like a sit-down dinners, but then they also had food on the go as well. But their food on the go was a lot different from our food on the go. Like, we went down this street that had a bunch of like unique foods, and there were people like there that were eating them. And what was different from them is like they don't litter a lot, like at all, and there's no trash cans in the street either. And so they would be like, they would take their trash with them, which is something we don't typically do.
Interesting.
Yep. Good for them.
Any other comments, questions?
New appreciation for Chef Morimoto.
Sounds like it was a great trip. That's awesome. Good for
Yeah,
you guys. Would you
that's
ever go
great.
back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
Good.
So I think you have 2 trips
We have
up
2
for
trips.
discussion.
trips.
One is New York and one is Greece, right?
Right, so I can do either one first, but you guys are all set.
Student-
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen.
Guys.
Great job.
Let's do New York first, because it's
New
first
York
in the book.
first?
Yeah.
That's a newer kind of trip that I'm presenting tonight on behalf of the English department, not the travel club. We found out, and it's because I'm a huge nerd, I knew To Kill a Mockingbird was coming to Broadway. It's a brand new show opening in November. It's my favorite book, and we teach it to all the freshmen here at Rockland High. It tends to be one of the favorites throughout their high school career, I believe. It's adapted, so I'm not sure how close to the book it will be, but one of my favorite writers, Aaron Sorkin, who's an Oscar-winning screenplay writer, he's adapting it for Broadway. Jeff Daniels is starring as Atticus Finch, so it's an amazing experience. We decided for students to see any Broadway show. It's a cultural experience. We're going a week before Christmas, so it'll be decorated. Rockefeller Plaza is where the bus is going to drop us off, so they'll have lunch there, get to see all the Christmas decorations and the holiday lights. And then they're going to get to experience what it's like to be a theater goer. And it will be a wonderful addition to the curriculum. We're all going to read it this fall, so it's pretty much done right when we go. It'll be fresh in their memories. And when we get back, we'll do some comparison. How did they adapt it? What was different from the book? What did you miss that was in the book? Elements that weren't in the show, or vice versa. And I just think it'll be an amazing experience. It's a long day. We're leaving very early and coming back pretty late at night. But we
Early in
wanted
the
to do it the cheapest possible so that most freshmen who can go and want to go will be able to.
It sounds like a great trip.
Yeah. What theater is, Scott?
It sounds like it's an amazing show, too. Everything I've been hearing about it, even outside of this meeting, it's supposed to be a great show, and Sorkin's
Yeah.
take on it's supposed to be awesome. So
And we'll be
I'm
there
happy
pretty
for the
early in the
opportunity
run
for our
before
kids.
it's a hit, which I'm sure it's going to be.
Yeah.
But unlike musicals that people are waiting for months and months in advance, it's kind of flying under the radar, which I think is working to our benefit because it was very easy to get tickets from Broadway. They were great helping us out with pre-ordering, and then we'll have the students pay their deposit so they can spread out the $110 in 2 payments, reserve their spot with just enough for us to pay the ticket bill, which is $45 a student, and then they'll have till Thanksgiving to pay the balance.
Great. Great experience.
great
Any other questions?
What theater? Do you know?
Schubert.
Oh, sure. Oh, that's a nice theater down there. Yeah.
Will you come back and tell us after they've read the book and
Yeah,
seen
I would
it,
love to
what
bring a
their
couple of
thoughts
students
were?
who have read the book and seen the play, and they can
Yeah.
present to you. It would be
I'd love
wonderful.
to hear their side after.
I think
this
I should do a
goes well.
snippet of the play itself.
Well,
Well, I don't know if they're willing, but.
I can tell you when I took Shakespeare, Sue Patton had us go and see Midsummer Night at Midsummer Dream.
Yeah, midnight, so-
I can't even, where were we? It was like on the North Shore somewhere. And it was one of the coolest things I had done. And we didn't even leave the state. So getting to actually see it on Broadway and go to Rockefeller Center, that's pretty amazing.
So, any other questions?
No.
Anybody have a motion to approve the first trip?
Motion to approve, New York trip?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Walsh, next up we have the out-of-country field trip on Greece.
Sure. For the first time in the travel club history, we let the students vote and choose where they wanted to go for 2021. It was an April junior-senior trip year. I gave them 8 choices that I thought were acceptable to the chaperones, and we had a meeting after school, and those who showed up got to vote. It was almost unanimous that Greece was in their top 1 or 2, so everyone was very happy when we finally decided on that. I'm having a meeting hopefully in a couple of weeks on September 12th to give information to parents and students. It's this year's freshmen and sophomores who will be eligible, so they can sign up and start to make payments as soon as possible. It's a combo trip of land in Athens and a couple other sites on the mainland of Greece, and then a 4-day cruise, which, to be honest, I was slightly hesitant about when I looked at the itinerary, but I talked to our tour director, who's with us in Europe every year now. He's based in the Athens office. He's wonderful, and he told me, in no uncertain terms, it's the safest place we could possibly bring students. They have nowhere to go, obviously, on the ship. The staff is amazing about knowing that there are student groups and keeping them in line. They have wristbands that tell them where they can and cannot go. We'll have meeting spots on the boat, and then obviously all of our cabins will be together. So he really reassured me that the cruise is a wonderful experience for them, and then we get off each day for a day trip together on different islands.
Oh, good. And this is the same group. I know.
Yeah.
Are we using it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
EF,
yeah,
same
they-
company we
they-
always work with. They just started to formalize the cost for me so I could give you the
Right.
estimate of how much it is. It's pretty comparable to every other Europe trip we do. And the students will be able to sign up once their applications for Travel Club are accepted. And then that gives them 2.5, 3 years to pay for it, which is
Good.
much more
They're a big
manageable.
group.
Typically, we get a rep here from EF to come speak to us when we approve a trip. Was that not able to have happen?
They've
or-
come a few times. I don't think
Yeah.
they've come the last couple.
Okay.
You can definitely, I can have someone come if you have questions.
Any other
Um,
questions from anybody else about it, or?
I mean, we've had them in, I've been here when they've come in, and they've always made super presentations, and they cover all the angles for that. I'm more than satisfied with that,
Okay.
but if you guys want to have them come in, it wouldn't hurt to have them, just come in and, say, hey, we're here.
I know the last one we had in was a different company
Right.
for the last.
That wasn't,
Yeah,
was
that-
that Explorica for the Quebec trip?
Yeah.
That's
So
the
that-
same company as EF, actually.
Right.
So
Oh, it is,
EF, the parent company,
Right.
has several different
Okay.
smaller companies within. EF is the international tours that I do. Explorica is their domestic. And then they have language schools and au pairs. My sister works for their au pair company,
Oh, wow.
settling au pairs in the Boston area. So they have places everywhere, which is why I feel so safe that we travel. When I went to Japan, we went with the students to the EF office in Japan, where students were learning to write in Japanese, and they saw different classes going on, which I thought was very cool. But it's also where the office for anything that we need while on tour would be. And most major cities have it. Athens obviously has one. It's why I feel so safe with them.
Right.
But as far as Explorica, it's the same parent company.
Right.
I agree, EF has been great. I mean, we worked with them. I can't even tell you how many times. I mean, how many times?
This
Oh, we've
is, I
been
want to say,
there
our
for a
8th
while.
trip.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been great. They've been
Yeah.
very supportive, both, and, good trips and trips where we had obviously some unfortunate circumstances. They've been great,
They
too.
handled those really well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm obviously 100% for this trip. It sounds like an awesome trip, but I got to be honest, I would feel myself, I don't know about anybody else, more comfortable when we approve foreign travel trips to be able to have somebody from the company here just to not only answer questions for us, but to be able to talk a little bit, to have parents be able to be comfortable, or those out there in TV land, all 9 of them, to feel comfortable about EF and who they are. And
Yeah.
so if it's okay, I mean, I don't know, does anybody else feel the same?
I would ask you to have them come in and talk to us about it, because I've heard them on many occasions, okay? But there is new members of the committee that might feel more comfortable with a person coming up and they can ask their questions to
Absolutely.
the person. And, so if we could do that, that'd be cool.
Great. So maybe what we'll do is we'll entertain a motion to just table this until either next time or the next time there's availability that you might be able to be back,
Yeah.
whether it be at our next meeting or
Okay.
whatever
Okay.
works for you and the folks at EF.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah, motion to table.
So we have a motion to table. We have a second?
Yes, I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's a
Thank
vote.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Walsh.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot. Okay.
Thank you. I wanted to talk to them.
Yeah.
Next up, item G on our agenda tonight, we have the Rockland Regional Adult Learning Center 2018 graduation list. I'm going to read each name out loud because each of them really deserve it. These are remarkable people. It's a remarkable organization. They do an absolutely fantastic job. It's a great opportunity for folks that have made the decision for the second time in their life that education is important to them. So that they can achieve their high school degree. So we want to congratulate each and every single one of these folks. Again, they're adults. They've made the decision to, be here at nights, to be here, leave their families, to be here from their jobs, to make the decision to educate themselves. And thankfully, we've got some great educators here in Rockland Public Schools that give their time and that are here and do a great job of it. So anyway, I'm going to do my very best to name each of these names. There are 16 of them. I apologize in advance because I am certain that I will probably mispronounce at least one. But anyway, congratulations to each of the following. Kayla Marie Beaudry, Alicia Marie Binda, Taylor Rose Marie Brown, Kendra Gavin, Valeria Rodriguez Alves, Dylan Paul Johnson, James Levangie, Octavio D'Souza Lima, Marilyn Rose Murphy, Helber Soares Nunes, Ayala Lorena Sampaio, Valeria Alexandrina Negrando Santos, Mark J. Zalis, Zevin Tavares, Sarah Ann LaBelle, Tiago Pereira dos Santos.
Very good.
Congratulations to all of these ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that each of them have very bright futures.
Do we have their addresses? You set them? You set them? Okay,
Outstanding.
thank you. I'll have to go find it.
Next up, item H, we have surplus property. Dr. Cron, is there any comment that you have about any of the surplus property or how folks can go about getting this
So
information?
if anyone would like a copy of Grade 5 Discovery Work Science textbook, we have 150 copies. And Grade 6 Geography book, it's quite old, 140 copies. So anyone who'd like a copy, please
Step
come
up.
to the office and we'll get you one.
Enriching reading, I'm sure,
Absolutely.
for certain.
So
Okay.
I'm sure science hasn't changed.
Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. the surplus property.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's a vote. Thank you very much.
Be careful what you throw away. You see what the Apple I computer was going for?
Oh, man.
Oh, that's a computer.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, file
What is
cabinets.
that?
I need some.
Oh, the original?
The original, one of the 6 original ones. It's going for $35,000. It still works.
Couple bucks?
Yep.
Okay. Next up, we have a request for approval for fundraisers, and we have several. The Rockland High School, the National Honor Society is going to do gift cards in November. Worthy Villages is going to do Savers fundraiser, and it's going to be ongoing. The class of 2021, well, that sounds funny saying, doesn't it? Class of 2021 T-shirt sales, September and October. Boys soccer snap raise, and that'll be in August. The Eston School will be having, the PAC will be having a Name the Circle in October and a Scholastic Book Fair in November. Meadow Farms Ice Cream Social in April, sounds good. Raffle Night Dining for a Cause. Hilliard's Candy Bars, they're having a walkathon in May. Scripps gift cards in November, and Little Caesars Pizza in January. My question is, where the heck is there a Little Caesars anywhere?
That's not. It's all boxed frozen stuff.
Oh, is that what
Oh.
it is?
Yeah, so you order Little Caesars like garlic
Yeah.
breadsticks.
Ah, I
And
see.
you get a box of that to keep in your freezer and take out for
Right, like
Which-
the cookie dough.
Yeah.
which
fundraiser.
I bought
Yeah.
it off a
idea.
couple people.
So there's what, 13 here?
So I'm just mad there's
13,
no
so we have-
Chipotle.
413 motion?
13 motions, do we have 13 seconds?
13 seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
That's a aye. It's a vote. Thank you. Next
Getting
up, we have some reappointments. Dr. Cron, do you have some comments about these?
I'd ask that you reappoint me.
Well,
I guess
let's
so.
do that last.
And no, I look at this list and I feel incredibly fortunate to work with such a group of professionals. So I would ask that you reappoint this list of this administrative team.
Okay. Motion to appoint, reappoint.
We have a motion to appoint
Second.
items A through M, and we have a second. All those in favor? That is a vote. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Last up, we have personnel information for June, July, and August. Dr. Cron?
No specific comments, but just thank you very much to those who have left us, and thank you for your service. And we're very excited with the new folks that have joined us this year. And again, off to a great start.
Excellent. Last up on tonight's agenda, we have public service announcements. As always, Lady, well, before I go to public service announcements, a question. Any idea when we'll be meeting our first, or our new student representative for the year?
No, I guess our goal should be in 2 weeks. That would be my goal.
Great.
So we'll be checking with Dr. Harrison on that.
Great.
Yes.
So we'll look forward to meeting that young lady or gentleman. So next up, last on the agenda, but not least, of course, is public service announcements. As always, ladies first. Mrs. Maroney.
Thank you, Mr. Biggins. I will start with, on August 13th, I posted on my school committee member Facebook page the Rockland Public School supply list. Trying to just be forthcoming with information for parents. I know we're all scrambling, trying to get that, so I tried to put it out as soon as I thought of it, actually. And with that, Massachusetts State Representative Dave DeCoste reached out to me explaining that in 2017, the state legislature voted to raise the pay of lawmakers in Massachusetts. Representative DeCoste has committed to not accept this increase. Instead, he has been donating the funds to various organizations within the district that have a positive impact on our community. Representative DeCoste presented me with a $400 check made payable to the town of Rockland for John W. Rogers Middle School. He thanked me for making him aware of the opportunity to contribute and for all that I am doing as a school committee member in Rockland. I then presented the check to Ms. Bond to pass to Ms. Lori Donovan, the adjustment counselor at John Rogers Middle School. And I would just like to take the opportunity to thank State Representative DeCoste for his generous donation. These funds are greatly appreciated and will surely make a difference.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Maroney. Mr. Mills.
School's here. It started today. I was down at Memorial Park. Very pleasant atmosphere down there. All the kids were happy. I was happy. My wife was happy that it was there. So, and my grandkids were there too. Based upon this here, can we send a letter of thank you to Representative DeCoste?
So I have, and Ms. Bond is as well.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much. So just be safe. Just have a great school year. It starts. It's beautiful. Go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mills. Mr. Garofalo.
Yes, I failed in my preparation for this, so I apologize. So I'm not going to list everybody off, but I do want to congratulate the Winterland Skating School out of Rockland, where we have, I believe it's 15, possibly 16 Rockland girls that skate at age that range from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. They won the District 1 championship for the second year in a row, as they hosted it here in Rockland, and they won by like 700 points. And then they took on Worlds, and they finished as the second place team overall at Worlds. And again, as you guys know, the MIAA will never recognize any of these figure skaters because it's not something that the MIAA will make money off of. So I'm going to do it because these girls deserve it. So other than that, I'm glad school's back, and I look forward to another crazy fun year, and hopefully no snow.
Thank you, Mr. Garofalo. For me, I don't have much, just that it's really exciting, beginning of a new school year. The pleasure of being at orientation. It seems as every year there's just such a positive vibe in the room. You get to see people dancing up and down the aisle. That was pretty good. Saw Colleen doing a little bit of dancing. That was great. But really, it's just great to see everybody so excited to come back to school. It was great to see the kids excited to come back to school. I'm really excited about having a really great year. Hopefully this will be the best year we've ever had in Rockland Public Schools. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We probably should thank you, Mr. Biggins, for your limo ride to RMS Wednesday morning.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited for that.
Just thought of it.
We're excited for that. Mrs. Maroney is referring to, Dr. Cron and I, he's going to be riding shotgun with me in our company limousine, where we're going to be picking up three lucky middle school students to ride to school on Wednesday. They won that as a raffle item at their barbecue at the end of the year last year. So they're going to get some orange juice and munchkins and
Nobody went to
Sugared
the
up.
hearse, huh?
no.
Dropped off, right?
The limo was more attractive.
That's all that was.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I look forward to doing it again in years down the road too. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
Yes.
So with that, we have a
Motion.
motion to approve.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Thank
Adjourn.
you.
Yes.
And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Thank you very much.
September
Have a great night.
10th, right, is the next one?
September
See you out in 2 weeks.